I spent 7 years as a cook in the Immortal Sect. I awakened the food spirit root. Food, come. Haha. The food spirit root, after 7 years of being a cook, this kind of trash spirit root is truly a disgrace to our Immortal Sect. How absurd. I am completely disappointed in you. You still want to cultivate immortality? You are only fit to hover around the kitchen. I was heartbroken. While going down the mountain to clear my head, I accidentally saved a boy who was starving to death. Are you a member of the Immortal Sect? Yes, but other than feeding people, I can't do anything else. Everyone says I'm useless. Being able to feed people is a great talent. How could that be useless? Let's go. We won't take this kind of disrespect. 3 years later, my fiancé reached the deity transformation stage. He went to the mountain to seek an imperial title, but he found statues of me everywhere on the road. One hand on my hip, the other holding a rice bowl held high, looking majestic and imposing. This is the statue of Her Majesty. You don't even recognize Her Majesty? He asked in confusion what this was. My fiancé, Qinghuan, is a 1 in a million genius. Yet, I have mediocre talent, making no progress after days of cultivation. If not for the benefit of our engagement, she wouldn't even be fit to tie Brother Gu's shoes. I don't know what the Gu ancestors were thinking, to arrange a marriage with such a loser. Qinghuan, I will only give you a 7-year deadline. As long as you can learn one simple immortal technique, I will marry you as promised. If you cannot learn it, then the engagement is void. The ancestors in heaven ate the offerings I made. They were very satisfied and decided to grant me a wish. Wind come, wind come, wind come. Who knew the ancestors would mistake wind come for food, come. With a wave of their hand, they awakened my food spirit root. Damn it. Chew, chew, chew. Who fed me? I've been fasting for 3 months. Just 1 day away from completion. It is all ruined. The next day was the Immortal Sect tournament. I had to bite the bullet and face the junior sister. And the result? Food come. The junior sister slashed through the air, leaving everyone in awe. I shouted, food come, and served the junior sister a full course feast. You still want to cultivate immortality? You're only fit to hang around the kitchen. But you clearly said, as long as I learned one immortal technique, you wouldn't break off the engagement. That is a crooked, evil path. It doesn't count. I hereby announce that as of today, I am breaking my engagement with Qinghuan and choosing the junior sister as my Dao companion instead. Congratulations, senior brother Gu. Congratulations, junior sister. Ha ha ha. Junior sister. Food come. Ah, who spat into my mouth? Qinghuan, what exactly are you trying to do? Qinghuan, what a coincidence. Are you out for a walk too? Are you sick in the head? The junior sister and I are already married. Why won't you give up? The junior sister has exceptional talent. In just a few years, I will reach the deity transformation realm. And you? Besides humiliating me, what else can you offer me? So even if I truly mastered the immortal arts, he still wouldn't marry me. Nonsense. Being able to feed people is a great talent indeed. The next day, I shouldered the small, tattered pack I arrived with and left the Immortal Sect. I hadn't been down the mountain in so long. I didn't expect the world below to be so vastly different from my memories. The once bustling and lively village was now desolate and overgrown, without a single soul in sight. It was here that I found that young boy. The boy was starving to death, muttering something about a hamburger. I didn't understand. Food appear. Sister, make another one. Hey. Could you be a legendary cultivator? I am, but I only have a food spirit root. I can't do anything but feed people. Everyone says I'm useless. Nonsense. Being able to feed people is a great talent indeed. How could that be useless? With these consecutive years of natural disasters, people are starving to death everywhere. Your ability could save lives. Natural disasters. I never lacked for food or drink in the sect. So I'd never heard of such things. Yeah, for the past 2 years, floods and droughts have taken turns. Half the common folk have already starved to death. The Immortal Sect relies on the people for support. Yet in the face of these disasters, not one of them has come out to help. They only care about their own ascension, damn it all. Might as well go home and grow sweet potatoes. You talk very strangely. You don't sound like a local. Me? Oh. Of course I'm not a local. The film crew came to our school to recruit extras. I heard I could get extra credits, so I signed up. Who knew I'd end up in this mess? Sigh. Life is truly unpredictable. Things just happen. Oh well, it is a long story. I'll tell you slowly later. Come with me. Let's go. We don't have to take this nonsense. That was when I learned the young man's name was Lu Chuan. I had nowhere else to go anyway, so I just followed him. He chattered away the whole time we were walking, as if he hadn't eaten in 8 lifetimes. He'd get hungry after walking for just a little while. Tess, I'm so hungry. What do you want to eat? Over these past few days, my cultivation has grown, and I've become able to conjure whatever I want to eat. A hamburger. What is that? Never heard of it. I can't do that. It is just 2 buns with lettuce and meat in the middle. Isn't that just a meat sandwich? You should have said so earlier. Meat sandwich appear with a flick of my 2 fingers. A meat sandwich flew right into his mouth. He was stunned for a moment. Not bad. Once he was full, he patted his belly and lay. He patted his belly and lay down. Weren't we in a hurry? Why are you sleeping? The sun is so nice. Let's soak it up before we go. Life is but a fleeting stay. Don't waste a beautiful day with good tea. What does that mean? It means life is fleeting, so we should enjoy the present. Is that right? What is wrong with you? I'm thinking about my fiancé. You're talking about? Haha. They've only been married for 3 days. 3 days. I can't even imagine how many times they've kissed. He has never kissed me. Why do you keep thinking about that jerk? He is already tainted. You don't understand. We were betrothed before we were even born. 18 years. He is my life. How could anyone else understand how I feel about him? You're too kind. You haven't met enough people. That is why you value him so much. You're still too young. The world is vast. There are plenty of men better than Qinghuan. Once you've seen more of the world, you'll realize that Qinghuan is nothing more than a tiny drop of dew clinging to the edge of your sleeve. But Qinghuan is 1 in a million. 1 in a million. I could find you a whole cartload of men better than him. At the time, I just thought he was being pretentious. I didn't know that a long time later, he would actually bring a whole cartload of men better than Qinghuan for me to choose from. After 10 days of traveling, we finally arrived at the place Lu Chuan mentioned. It looked like a farm, but also like a military camp. Little Chuan is back. Little Chuan, where is the person you were looking for? Yeah, where are they? The young master said that person could turn the tide. Could it really be this little girl? Don't let her appearance fool you. She is quite capable. Qinghuan, show them what you can do. This time, I must make everyone truly impressed. She has got some real skills. Qinghuan, show them what you can do. With this display, I'll make sure everyone is thoroughly impressed. You're the one. Delicious meat sandwich. Food's here. Wow, that is amazing. I want some too. I want a scallion pancake. I want sweet water noodles. Didn't you say you were bringing me here to latch onto someone powerful? Why is this place full of starving refugees? Actually, they're a peasant rebel army. When I first arrived, I hadn't eaten in 3 days. I was starving to death. They were the ones who saved me. My trip to the Immortal Sect was at their request. A scam. I've really boarded a pirate ship. I'll feed these people first, and then I'm packing my bags and leaving. Wait a moment, young Master Wang is here. Who is this guy? Where is the person you were looking for? It is him. Who is he? He is young Master Wang. Who is young Master Wang? Ever heard of the Wang clan of Langya? The Wang and Shi of old. The Wangs from the poem about the swallows in the hall. That is his family. I actually thought Wang Shi was one person. You illiterate fool. Young Master Wang, full name Wang Qingyun. He was born with a handsome face. It is just that his words aren't very pleasant. So when the Imperial army attacks, what do you plan to defend with? Meat sandwiches or scallion pancakes? That is a fair point. You've made me hungry now. Hey you, looks like there is nothing left for me to do here. Then I'll be going. Miss Li. I meant no offense. I hope you can. Forgive me, please forgive me. I'm fine. Then I'll be going. This is no place to linger. Why are you so rigid? The way of rebellion should have been updated long ago. Encircle the cities from the countryside. Such a simple principle, you don't need to say more. I have already sent someone else to, only by inviting Guyan to join us. Can we ensure there are no mistakes? Guyan, who did you say you were looking for? Guyan, what about him? Do you know him, Miss Li? Know him, more than that. You know him? What a coincidence. I am Guyan. No, didn't you tell me that your name is Li Qinghuan? That is right. Li Qinghuan is my Dharma name. My birth name is Guyan. So what? Miss Li, stop joking around. Young Master Gu is a man. So what? I practice the path of ruthlessness. To master the divine arts, one must first castrate oneself. I'm not a man anymore. What? Then let me ask you, what shape is the birthmark? On Guyan's left buttock. They actually saw his butt? Look, and you still claim to be Guyan? I just bluffed, and you fell for it. So what? Why should only Guyan be able to help you? Isn't it just rebelling? Who doesn't know how to do that? Let me tell you all, I'm not leaving. This rebellion, I'm going to lead it. Even if Guyan comes, he won't be able to stop me. Do you know whose world this really is? Do you know why? The clans have survived for hundreds of years through changing dynasties, and still stand tall. I know. You just think that with Guyan, you'll have legitimacy and be able to gain the support of the clans, right? Then let me ask you, who are the most numerous people in this world? Speechless. It is the farmers. It is the proletariat. As long as you can unite the farmers across the country, even if each of them just spits once, they could drown the royal family. Food is the most important thing to the people. In this day and age, whoever can provide them with a full meal is who they will follow. Li Qinghuan, what do you think? Indeed. Actually, I entered the Immortal Sect at 10, and I don't really understand what they're saying. Whoever has the most people wins. The majority overwhelms the minority. Wang Qingyun's side. Let's go. Huff. Pedantic. Actually, at least you understand me. What you said makes perfect sense. The farmers are indeed the largest group. If everyone swings a shovel, the dynasty would surely fall. Oh my god, he completely misunderstood. Good heavens, it is not about swinging shovels. I really need to give you a proper lesson. Fine, looks like I have to teach you from scratch. But according to the law of conservation of matter, food shouldn't just appear out of thin air. How do you suppose that was done? The ancestor just waved his hand and took off without a word. He didn't even tell me the principle behind it. True enough. How was that done anyway? Forget it. This is a world of immortals after all. Who cares? By the way, Fairy, have you heard? There is a famine in the palace. The palace? That is the wealthiest place in the world. How could they be starving? They say there is a thief on the loose. Just this past month, food in the palace has been stolen repeatedly. Every time the meal is prepared, it vanishes in the blink of an eye. The foolish emperor is both furious and famished, and is hunting for the thief everywhere. Logically speaking, the imperial palace should be the most heavily guarded place. Who could have such skill? What? It is those two again. That night, I passed by Wang Qingyun's study. Seeing the light on, I went in to take a look. He was deeply troubled, seemingly worried about something. Seeing me enter, he casually lit a letter on the table and tossed it into the brazier. Is there something you need, Miss Li? No, I just noticed you didn't eat, and was a bit worried. I simply have no appetite. Please do not worry. I heard from Lu Chuan that you are burdened with too much anxiety. You forget to eat whenever you get busy. That won't do. If this keeps up, your health will collapse. Is there anything you like to eat? Food is for the stomach. It is a trivial matter. What a reckless yet warm-hearted girl. The world's food supply is finite. One must grow it oneself to be sure. Forcing a duck onto a perch. I want to learn, too. I want to live out my dream of being a male lead in a fantasy epic. Gather your spirit. Sink your breath into your dantian. Circulate your energy through the small heavenly orbit. How is it? Do you feel a surge of true energy gathering in your dantian? It feels like there is a surge of energy ready to burst out. That is a fart, for God's sake. You felt it, didn't you? No, I need to take a dump. Please accept this seal, my lord. What does this mean? It means that starting today, you are the leader of the rebel army. I've really boarded a pirate ship. What is Wang Qingyun's role in all this? Oh, he is the sponsor. So that is what it means to buy shares, but not sit at the table. What if I get killed? That won't happen. The previous leaders were all military generals. They had courage in abundance, but lacked wisdom. That is why they suffered such heavy losses. But you are different from them. You are an immortal after all. Besides, at least half the people outside came here because of you. You wouldn't want to disappoint them, would you? What a clever trap. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. Isn't this just putting me on the spot? Fine, I'm already here. Let's do it. The rougher the seas, the more valuable the fish. I want to announce this news to everyone. Ha ha ha. For these past few days, the two of us have done nothing but study, rising earlier than the roosters and sleeping later than the dogs. Not long after, the rebel army occupied Jinling. At that time, heroes rose up all across the land, and self-proclaimed kings were everywhere. Wang Qingyun's point is, if they call themselves kings, we must do the same. We cannot afford to fall behind. Wang Qingyun sent Quiting to ensure everything was done legitimately. Wang Qingyun sent people to build up my reputation. I'm familiar with this. The great Fangsing spicy blood tofu. Someone has already used this trick of yours. Well, it is just borrowing successful experience. It doesn't matter if it has been used before. What matters is having a title. The great Fangsing, the spicy blood flower. Not long after, my seed, accelerating technique, also started to show results. As long as there is water and sunlight, within just 10 days, I can force the seeds to grow into a bountiful harvest of mature rice. It is finally starting to look like something. You really are like a celestial being. No. It is fast, but it only needs a little water. By combining the advantages of both, we can grow rice that is both drought-resistant and high yield. Your way of thinking is truly ahead of its time. You wouldn't happen to be a time traveler too, would you? Time traveler. What are you talking about, Hajim? North and South mung beans, Hajim. Never mind, it is nothing. After the seed, accelerating technique succeeded. The news quickly spread across the Central Plains. Many commoners, upon hearing this, moved their entire families to join us. Our army gradually expanded tenfold, taking city after city. The tide of victory is gradually turning. What is that guy up to now? This is my statue. Do you like it? We need to make a name for ourselves. We can't just rely on word of mouth. I've made up my mind. From now on, every time we reclaim a place, we'll erect a statue there, so the world will know that this is our territory. What do you think? My head hurts. And what is this? That is me. Every great man needs a sidekick, right? I'm that sidekick. Then people will tell them. That is His Majesty's good friend, don't you know? He helped His Majesty conquer this entire realm. That way, I won't have come here for nothing. Even though I don't belong in this world and might suddenly disappear one day. With this statue here, who could say I never existed, seeing how serious he is? Never mind. I'll just gently remind him that this design doesn't look very good. Make me look more imposing. Accepted. Wang Qingyun. Come look at my masterpiece. How is it? You've come at the perfect time. Let's add old Wang in too. The three of us will go down in history. Never to be separated. Never to be separated. Just as we sat down, I had a terrible premonition. Why is my heart pounding like this? Li Qinghuan, let's swap clothes. You leave through the side path first. Ha ha ha. Well done. Do not kill him. He is of great use. Do not kill him, no matter what. Haha. Could this be the Wang Qingyun I knew? Wang Qingyun exploited everyone's trust, causing all the cities to change hands. If I were to show my face, I would be hacked to pieces immediately. With no other choice, I had to smear charcoal ash on my face. I fled toward the north. 20 days later, I didn't even know where I had escaped to. I collapsed outside a ruined temple. I no longer had the strength to move. Compared to losing everything, the betrayal of those close to me was far more devastating. In just a few short days, the tides had turned. I had become a fugitive. Lu Chuan's fate remained unknown. Rebellion is truly no task for a human. Young lady. What is your name? My name is Hongyu. I see. You must have many sorrows. He asked no more. He carried me home. Originally, the drought had eased this year, and there would have been some harvest, but this was already the best they could offer. It was just that the imperial court kept coming to seize the grain, leaving nothing left in the house. Fortunately, the rice in the fields sprouted a second time. In another dozen days or so, we would be able to harvest some more. I sat up, and facing the rice field before Hongyu, I flicked my finger. The rice, which had been lifeless, slowly raised its head. It was also at this moment that my cultivation suddenly broke through the bottleneck, entering the spirit transformation stage. The rice has come back to life. Father, mother, the rice has come back to life. That is wonderful. These rice stalks have grown so well. Oh no, the imperial troops are here again. I have to hide the rice. This is all the food we have left. We can hide today, but we can't hide tomorrow. Why not start an uprising? We've thought about it. We heard there was a prince fan in Jinling, and we plan to go join him. But with only 100 of us in this village, what could we possibly achieve? What if that prince fan is standing right in front of you? What? That day, I took Hongyu and the villagers to rise up once more. Because my reputation had already spread throughout the land, my return from the dead only added to the legend. Within a few days, our ranks had swelled to tens of thousands. I led my new followers into battle, crushing everything in our path. Things have finally settled down these past few days. Qinghuan, you're not dead. No, I'm not. I fought my way out that day and jumped into the river. Until today, when I heard that the prince had arrived, I couldn't believe it. Qinghuan, you're still alive. This is truly wonderful. Lu Chuan, I've missed you so much these days. Of course, I am your most loyal follower, after all. You've grown so tall. What do you mean? Who are you? His name is Hongyu, my trusted confidant. Didn't you say we would never be separated? For atonement, the army soon reached Luoyang. Prince Yong led several thousand cavalrymen to meet us in battle. Behind him, I saw Wang Qingyun. He had grown much thinner. His lips were pressed tight as he watched me in silence. This was quite unexpected. His plan had been a complete success. Shouldn't he be basking in glory these days? I don't understand. Do you really think these remnants behind you are fit to challenge me? If you are willing to surrender now, I might just spare your life. I miscalculated. He has at least 2,000 cavalrymen charging down at us. We'll be trampled into mincemeat. What do we do? Don't panic. Fan, go. The incense is almost ready. Charge. Wang Qingyun, what are you doing? Why haven't you killed him yet? Ha! That is good. I was afraid you were all too soft and kind, which would lead to your downfall. This is just fine as it is. I had thought of so much before seeing him. I thought I must ask him properly. Why did you deceive us? I must punish him severely. Would he really face death so easily? Your Highness, I have failed you. I have nothing more to say. It is just a pity for those war horses. Fine, then I'll return them to you. Fan, go. You actually made me laugh. Can you even take that back? There are many things you haven't imagined yet. A few days later, someone arrived. Weary from travel, asking for an audience, they delivered a letter. Young Master Wang said, if he were to die, I should hand this letter to the Prince of Fan, Li Qinghuan. I opened the letter, but there wasn't a single word. Only a map and a key. Many of my doubts were answered then. Following the map, I found a cellar. I opened it to find a storehouse full of gold and silver. Many of my doubts were answered then. I never understood why. If his initial goal was to pave the way for the Wang family, he still forced me to learn the art of power. Now I understand. People are not simply black or white. During those days we spent together, he must have had his own selfish motives. It's just that, in the end, he still chose to serve his master. This was the final lesson he ever taught me. After a month of recovery, I led my troops and marched toward the capital. The imperial clan gathered their last forces, determined to fight to the bitter end. Dark clouds loomed over the city. I looked at those gaunt and weary faces opposite us. Serve the meal. As the command fell, all kinds of delicacies rained down into our battle formation. The soldiers sat on the ground and leisurely began a grand feast. The scent of food filled the air. The defenders in the city were suddenly in an uproar. It smells so good. It's the smell of scallion pancakes from home. Sweet and sour pork. Oh my, I smell sweet and sour pork. And pickled fish. My mother's favorite layered flatbread. No one is allowed to move. Judging by your accent, you must be from Jingchu. I have been there before. The hot dry noodles from your hometown are delicious. The hot, smooth sesame paste coats every strand, mixed with radish cubes and pickled long beans. You could eat several bowls and never get tired of them. Which, stop trying to bewitch the masses. I will never serve the food. The capital fell without a fight. I slowly ascended the throne. Your Majesty, 10,000 meals, 10,000 meals, 10,000 meals. This slogan is truly their style. Your Majesty, someone is here to see you. Someone already, on the second day of my reign. This man claims he has reached the deity transformation stage. As long as you are willing to build a golden statue for him and help him survive his tribulation so that he may ascend to godhood in the future, he will protect our great fan for peace and prosperity. So, you finally came. Gu Yan. Li Qinghuan, it really is you. How bold! How dare you address Her Majesty by name? Kneel at once. I walked all the way here and saw those strange statues. I never would have imagined that you would pick up such a bargain and become the human emperor. I heard you reached the deity transformation stage. Indeed. What? Still want to cling to me? That is perfect. You can take the lightning tribulation for me. What? You are also at the deity transformation stage. I don't want to ascend. I'll leave the opportunity to you. But looking at you now, you don't seem very useful. I smiled and walked away with ease. It was not until this day that I finally understood what Lu Chuan said to me when we first met 3 years ago. Having seen the vastness of the world, a mere Gu Yan is nothing more than the most ordinary drop of dew on my sleeve. Returning to the bedchamber, Lu Chuan was planning the empire's first 5-year plan. He said everyone would be given land, that compulsory education would be universal, that industry and technology would be developed, and that burger shops would open across the land. Finally, I will also choose an imperial consort for you, in case I am not here one day. There will still be someone to keep you company. He meticulously arranged it, bringing in carts of handsome men for me to choose from. What, do you want them all? Having them all wouldn't be bad either. Li Qinghuan, I'm just teasing you. Actually, I already have someone I like. You have someone you like. Who is it? No, I am with you every single day. How could I not know? I won't tell you. You can guess slowly. Let's go. Back to work. Life is but a fleeting stay. Don't waste the fine weather for tea.